In terms of this being like a distraction to the Vince McMahon story, was
Mhm.
this? I think people are getting a little too ahead of themselves, thinking
Mm.
like that this is going to just erase the Vince McMahon story. Like you're
Yeah.
just
Like, was
completely
this The
lost.
Rock taking the bullet for TKO and putting himself out there, making him the controversial bad guy to take some steam away from Vince? I mean, we can't say for sure that it's not, but I also,
The Vince McMahon story isn't going away. That this is going to be
yeah.
the cloud over this company. It is not the cloud over solely Vince McMahon. This is a cloud over the company. And I'm very curious on Thursday if like you will in like number one, it's a very interesting setup because this is in Las Vegas. It is Super Bowl week in Vegas. Very smart on their part because you're going to
Mhm.
have a lot of sports media that are going to go probably on a quiet day to go cover The Rock doing a WrestleMania match announcement. So you'll have a lot of like sports media there. You're going to have a lot of like mainstream media potentially that is already in town. And you are in Nick Khan's hometown. Is Nick Khan going to be doing any kind of promotion, any kind of media interviews? And
Yeah.
are questions going to be asked of people? There are media availabilities for the people that are there in
Mhm.
Vegas, including Paul Levesque, including Dwayne Johnson.
Mhm.
I won't say I'd be stunned. I'd be very surprised if Dwayne Johnson is asked any question. I just imagine a
Hmm.
reporter getting two questions with Dwayne Johnson and is not going to be bringing up that. But I could be completely wrong, so I shouldn't even be guessing on that one. Paul Levesque and Nick Khan, I'm more interested in. I would say of the people available that would most likely be doing any kind of media, they would be the two I would think would get those questions asked of them.
It wouldn't surprise me if The Rock was,
He should be. He
he's the
absolutely
biggest
should.
name, and he's attached. I mean, you saw him in the photos with Vince McMahon. He has a history with Vince McMahon. I think he deserves, to for his thoughts to be asked of as much as anybody. Um, but I have a feeling everybody will be very prepared this time around, and if they weren't, that would be a big story. But I have to imagine everybody, all the principal players, Paul Levesque, Nick Khan, Dwayne Johnson, maybe even every member of the roster at this point might have a prepared answer to give, with for that topic.
Maybe if Paul gets a question, he will. You know what, guys? I'm going to pull up Shawn Michaels here by satellite. He's going to field this one.
Yeah.
Sean is going to be Hunter's official spokesperson for all things related to this case moving
Yeah.
forward.
Mm-hmm.
Any other just things you've seen in terms of coverage of the Vince story? Any we have seen some more reactions from people in the industry as well. It's
Mm-hmm.
some of it's been, I mean, kind of the reactions you've somewhat expected. Others, it's still been very quiet. Like for all the, it's not like anyone is, jumping to speak on this that is in the company or even kind of on the periphery of the industry. It's been few, but there's been some.
Right, right. I think for me, maybe what's more notable is hearing more from Ann Callis, the lawyer for Janelle Grant, and kind of hearing how, like getting her updates about what she's been receiving from other people who might have been attached to the WWE and have experienced similar things, and just sort of like getting a sense of how willing she is to pursue this versus just settling, and of course, like, I mean, I believe like, they'll give every indication that they're not willing to settle as the case is in progress. But can we believe that, we are going to get some sort of resolution and real answers about what exactly happened? Or is this all progressing towards a settlement?
Yeah, I mean, you can never guess in these cases, and I really hope that it will happen if there is a settlement. I really hope that there is a real understanding of what a victim goes through in these cases. That a settlement is something that, I mean, there are very few people that could go through this kind of public spotlight. Remember,
Mhm.
this is not somebody that has lived her life in front of an audience or is used to this level of attention and every horrific graphic detail of the
Mhm.
last years of her life are now on display for everybody.
You're right. Yeah, she is completely entitled to accepting it if she feels it's best for her. Um, I guess just for the health of or for my own sort of sense of justice, like I want to know everything this man did, and I want to know the truth behind it.
Yeah, I mean, the larger questions are, of course, the federal investigation and where that leads. The others that are under NDAs, if they come forward, if there are people out there that don't have NDAs,
Mhm.
and more, as I've been going back and re-listening to the Titan Gate series from Between the Sheets, and man, like that is an unexplored area of the company's history that, I mean, very similar in terms of like, NDAs that existed, and a really, really ugly history that, I mean, you can certainly connect a lot of this here. Like, as much as the focus was steroid distribution trial, like that investigation began for like the Ring Boy scandal, and you know like underage children being sexually assaulted. I mean, it's a case that sort of you are so removed from all these decades later, but it just takes someone to look at that as well, and tying together, like, this is where you're looking at like the company culture. What was learned from this? What was not learned from this? Um, there's a lot that this could be, and I think we are very early into just where things are. This is the tip of the iceberg, I think.
How much mainstream attention do you think, maybe the sort of controversies of the past related to Vince McMahon will sort of permeate its way through the mainstream?
So there's people that were involved in the early 90s scandal that were under NDAs. And I think if you had people, unfortunately, a lot of like the key people have, well, the key people that were accused at the time, like your Terry Garvins and Mel Phillips, like, they're no longer around. Tom Cole was one of the few that did speak up, and he took his life several years ago. There's others that are under NDAs. If they would come forward, I mean, that could reignite this. I mean,
Mm.
there is a giant spotlight on the company culture at the moment. I think you have a lot of outlets that are digging into just what went on in between these walls of WWE, and it could go back decades if people come forward, if there is a connection that here is a history of horrendous behavior that was not only went on, but that was, hear no evil, see no evil.
Mm.
There's a lot that can be looked at there.